Did it be on code? Let's make sure. Is it on code?
It is. What up,
Hi.
everybody?
Oh.
What up, everybody?
Hello.
We are Scooter Ray, aka
Turn it on.
the Cashmere Cat Daddy. We got the Gothic Princess, Aranya Miss,
Hold on.
and we have the troll from the Cosmos, Cosmic Boss. And this one's gonna be different with this CCR or Car Chronicles review if you're new here.
First things first, spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Heavy spoilers.
collectively, we are known as the Less Than Stealthy Ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we are the Less Than Stealthy Ninjas, darling, because we just got through watching Don't Worry, Darling. And when I mean we just got through, like 5 minutes ago,
5 minutes.
10 max.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I say this one is going to be different because, boss, Orion, how many movies have y'all went into prior the movie coming out that there was so much drama going into this movie, going into a movie? Not after the movie came out, but going into the movie, there was drama.
Not a lot.
Since I've known you,
Which has been almost 20 years, by the way.
yeah,
Friendship goes.
like collectively,
Don't be jealous.
I'm not.
like since I've known Scoop, like collectively, the movies we've gone in to see are the ones I've gone to see by myself, or even since I've known Aranya, going to see with her. I could say the only movie I remember having any level of drama before it, and it was very mild at that. It's like I'm talking poblano pepper mild, just not even poblano, just bell pepper mild. Is Captain Marvel. That's
okay. Now
that's it.
For those who's been keeping up with Don't Worry, Darling, there was mad stories before this movie came out. Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine, Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde beefing, Shia LaBeouf beefing with Olivia Wilde and Florence Pugh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just do your research. It's a lot.
It is. There's whole Twitter threads and YouTubes on it. So.
Me personally, I don't know about the other two. I personally was intrigued when I saw the trailer back in May, April.
Somewhere in there.
March, May, April.
Yeah.
So I was like, that seems like an interesting premise. Then when all of the drama started coming out, it was like, oh, this movie better be good. Because they got so much beef going on. This movie better be good.
And I can say, for me and Aranya, we saw the trailer, the first trailer or teaser last year.
Yeah.
We were initially interested, but I can say we both kind of forgot about this movie.
Yeah. And I didn't know anything about the drama because for the rest of y'all who don't know, I don't keep up with nothing Hollywood because I don't care. If it don't have nothing to do with me or my money, I don't care. So when they told me, I was like, wait a minute, say what now? What? Spit.
Yeah.
Right. Like I knew about the drama because I just be bullshitting on Twitter. So I saw like a few women go over the entire series of events, and I was just like, the hell is happening with these people on this movie? Like, it didn't make me any more interested in the movie.
Oh, it did.
But
it did.
So it was just,
it did.
There's a whole treasure trove of shit going on that went on with these people.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say this. Collectively as a trio, I think we can collectively say this movie is ass.
Trash.
This movie
swamp
is
ass. Like and it is far away the worst movie we've seen this year.
Even worse than Men?
Worse than Men. Because Men had direction.
Even worse than Firestarter?
Yeah.
Damn!
Firestarter was bland.
Shit on that.
Here's the thing, though. This movie...
Go back and watch those reviews, by the way.
This movie shows most of the movie in the trailers, unlike Barbarian.
Right.
You know, like, I'm sitting here thinking I'm looking at the trailer. Okay. I was like, what's happening?
So, right. And here's the thing. I know there's going to be some people out there that's going to get hard and try to defend this movie if you like it, or even if you don't like it.
That's the thing. I can defend it. I can see it on both sides of the coin.
I can defend it to a degree because, and like we said, this is spoilers. This is a modern day retelling of Stepford Wives.
Just leave it at that because we're going to get into the spoilers later because we want to, just in case people still want to watch the review.
Right.
We want to give y'all a few minutes to listen to us talk about it. Then we're going to get into spoilers. But I will say this. Of course, Don't Worry, Darling, directed by Olivia Wilde. It's starring Florence Pugh, a.k.a. Yelena from the MCU.
Yellow
Harry Styles.
Barbacoa from the MCU.
Huh?
Yellow Barbacoa. Yelena Belova.
Harry Styles, a.k.a. Watermelon Sugar High.
Don't you ever act in another movie, sir.
Hey, sir. Everybody got to get the legs, okay?
He is
a.k.a. Watermelon
Lieutenant
Sugar
Dan
High.
now.
We got Chris Pine, a.k.a. Well, who is he, Captain?
He is Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk from the Star Trek. And of course, Olivia Wilde in it was in it herself. And then other people was in the movie. So who?
The little Indian guy.
WandaVision. And Nick Kroll.
Hey,
shout out to Nick fucking Kroll.
The League is still my shit. But so the movie basically, it's kind of hard to describe it, but the movie is set in like the 50s, 60s.
Somewhere.
And
when women stayed at home.
And there's this thing called the Victory Project where the men go work on, and everything doesn't seem so sunny in Philadelphia. Something seems amiss, and Florence Pugh's character, Alice, starts to kind of realize something isn't what it seems. And that's what we will stop right there telling the story, because like I said, we are going to get into the spoilers a little bit later. But just going into the movie, what did y'all expect from this movie? Without spoiling, just going into it, what did y'all expect?
I thought it was going to be some kind of under the dome, future, like weird, what a twist type of movie.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of expected something like that, like something is going to be amiss, but what is it? Like, what's the overall thing with this movie?
I was that to a degree. I thought initially it was going to be a retelling of Stepford Wives, but I was like, what twist are they going to put on it? Because it looks like it took place in the 50s. There was a whole bunch of stuff giving it away. It was a whole bunch of mysterious shit happening in this movie. So I was curious to see how they were going to make it new and what they were going to do different.
With that being said, with y'all being aficionados, would this technically be classified as a horror movie?
No.
Okay.
A thriller, perhaps.
Okay.
Barely, if that.
They don't have a scale.
Just a thriller or not. If you were to thrillers are right below horror movies, because in thrillers, sometimes horrific shit happens.
Yes.
And it's more suspenseful. Horror movies is all about horrific shit happening. I don't know what the term or the genre is below thrillers. If it's just drama.
No, I think it goes mystery, then thriller.
This ain't so much a mystery.
No, this is a thriller.
It has the mysterious element in it. Technically,
it does.
It really does. It does.
So it probably will be listed as a mystery thriller when it comes to whatever.
Yeah, it probably will. So
okay, so
it's a tweener. We'll say that.
If you're here now, this is where we're going to start rolling in the spoilers. Now, the only reason why we're going to roll into spoilers because we can't properly talk about the movie without spoiling it. So before I say this, Olivia Wilde, I hope this is because this is her first attempt, right?
Her first, yes.
I hope this isn't your last, because I can see the vision. Got the ass. I can see the vision. Sometimes, and this is the shitty part about creatives. Sometimes you have the vision in your head, but what plays out might not be what's in your head.
And it was very independent filmish, like I said.
Yes, it was very independent filmish. It was very independent. It was very, this could have been on Netflix. This could have been on Prime. This could have been on Hulu, because it did have a little budget to it. Yeah. Let's face it, it has some budget.
It did.
But if you're here now, we're going to start rolling in the spoilers, and we will not take it personal that if you stop the video around now.
Just give it a thumbs up anyway.
Now,
thank you.
What in the Stepford Wives WandaVision bullshit did we just watch?
Essentially just Stepford Wives
WandaVision.
Made in a modern day.
She even had the motherfucker from WandaVision.
Right.
In The Sims.
Here's the thing.
In The Sims. So what in the Stepford Wives Sims WandaVision did we just watch?
And we saying Stepford
Matrix
Wives.
bullshit.
Not everybody who might be in our audience would know what that property is. If you don't know what Stepford Wives is, it's essentially a tale of this neighborhood of men and women, couples, where the women are under control. I think in the original, they were under hypnosis. And in the remake, that was like late 90s, early 2000s, some of them were robots. So essentially, it's basically about keeping women under control is what that story was about. This one is...
This ain't that.
Essentially the same thing.
This is motherfucking kidnapping.
But kidnapping. To a degree. Because...
What?
Here's the whole...
They got popping cone.
So here's the whole... Basically the twist of the movie. It is Stepford Wives up until the last 30 minutes when it's revealed what it is.
The Matrix.
The Matrix.
/ WandaVision.
/ Get Out. So
/ The Sims.
So I don't know where this technology came from.
Right?
How much did it cost?
Obviously, it must have cost a grip.
And I don't know how much these dudes make to where they have to avoid rent.
But wait, he was so bummy. Was he a druggie?
I don't know because apparently he had look.
Okay, we're getting a little ahead.
Right. So here's what happened. Basically, at one point in the movie, Florence remembers she was a doctor.
Well, what kept triggering her memory, she kept humming this song.
There
was a song she kept humming, but she could never figure out
what it was or where it was from.
Then
she had memories once they performed the electroshock on her. She remembered she was a doctor. And she came home one day, her husband, played by Harry Styles, and she had the memory how he had just lost a job and she was going to take up extra shifts.
Yes.
So he was sitting at the computer listening to a podcast or a YouTube video. She came in after just performing surgery.
She said 30-hour shift.
30-hour shift. And he was like, I haven't eaten. And she's like, why? Because I didn't know what you wanted and you didn't answer your phone. You're a grown-ass man. But I'm not getting into that.
There's a lot of men like that.
There's a lot of them like that. But so they have somewhat of a very small argument. She goes to bed because she only has 6 hours till she has to be back at work. He is listening to this podcast and it's Chris Pine's character talking about society and this, that, and the other shit. Turns out, to join this victory project, you are responsible for your own wife. You this, that, and the other. You take this oath. You've chosen your wife. Blah 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 blah. Bullshit. I don't know if they sent this equipment to him.
So basically, to basically sum up what is happening, the reason why we've listed WandaVision, Stepford Wives, Matrix, The Sims. Because basically, to sum it up, what's happening is we don't know if it's experimental or what, but it's some technology that it's some weird thing that you put over your eyes.
It's Ready Player One. It's VR.
You're basically looking up in the ceiling in this little dome tube in your bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically puts you in this psychosis that what you're seeing in the movie of them being in the 50s. That's what we were saying with the whole
world you see in the trailer is not real.
It's not real. So
it's
basically
a virtual reality world that they're jacking into with these.
So basically,
devices.
You can make it to what you want because Olivia Wilde's character made the reference that she knew the whole time, but this was the way she can have her kids back.
Yeah, she chose this.
So obviously something must have happened
in this world.
In her real world. So basically, it's a kind of a swerve of kidnapping because obviously you basically have a shitty real life.
Mm-hmm.
And basically every day the men go back into the real world
to work
to support themselves, rent and pay for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, just like any movies, there's always these rules that, hey, you don't leave past this area of the city and this, that, and the third. And like I said, something was smelling rotten in Denmark because Alice, Florence Pugh, was starting to realize everybody had the same stories, everybody had the same experiences, all this and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually get that it was a simulation, that it was a Sims type thing, that's what made it like the
right.
So now, with that being said, like I said, this was going to be a little different. Aranya, how do you feel about the men were essentially forcing their wives to do this? And
Glad you asked.
Yes.
So, first of all, this is, and I know what kind of person Olivia Wilde is, and I know this was the point. It is about silencing and taking away your woman's rights, because it's not that these women agreed. They didn't say, okay, cool. It's like you woke up in the simulation, and if you start to act like you don't want to be in the simulation anymore, oh, we got to reprogram it so that you stay the fuck asleep. And these are successful women, all because in Florence Pugh's situation, you have a bratty ass man at home who lost his job. I want to know what kind of job he got now, since he couldn't find one and she had to pick up more shifts. And she's a doctor, so yeah, they look like they lived in either like New York or something like that. What are you doing that you can afford that big of an apartment in New York?
Not only that big of an apartment, but did you see the technology of computer screens and shit?
Right, your light bill went up.
It did, because y'all.
Oh, Shay, even think about that.
Your internet is now. You have to have Google.
And I have questions about, okay, these women, how long have they been in the program? Because your body starts to atrophy. We're humans.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? So when she woke up, like, you can't walk, boo. You finna just lay on the ground and be like, well, he dead. And then what did you tell them happened to your wife? As she's a doctor, and they knew her,
and she just all of a sudden
disappears. What is that? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So I understand the silencing of the woman. I understand men want it to be like it used to be, because we have conversations about that all the time. The used to be wife, where she stayed at home and cooked and cleaned and just was at her husband's beck and call type shit. But at the same time, in modern day, how did they pull this off? Like, I need a backstory.
Another thing I wanna answer to. You watched SAO?
A little bit. I watched enough of it.
How is it that he died in real life when he was killed in the simulation?
That was weird, because all they really showed was that this device went over your eyes and you was just basically staring up at the screen.
Right.
So it was obviously there must have been some type of
just something like this that's set right here. Like, your eyes were like exposed to the world. There was no helmet or anything like that. She hit him in the simulation with a drink glass, and he died in the real world.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that. Wait, hold on. Before we leave this point, how much of a frail fuck that he got hit one time?
That's them old school cognac blessings.
Look,
I get that, but he got hit one time.
She know where to hit him.
Oh, you know what? I ain't think about that.
But right. Here's the thing. In most movies, when they talk about this linking in type world, it links into your brainwave activity. And if you do not leave out of it, think about the Matrix. If you don't leave out of it the proper way, and you suddenly are jerked out, death. Think about it.
I guess that would make a little sense.
When you're talking, now we're not talking about for real playing The Sims. For real playing The Sims is this, but the virtualness of this experiment, if you just get jerked out, your brain activity has ceased. And you like this, oh no.
Right.
So
that popcorn gone.
Oh yeah, them birds was like,
sorry,
they were standing on it and everything, fighting.
I also need to know, like, how did nobody else know they were in a simulation? When they had no feeling, like when they were grabbing things, you had nothing in your hand.
Well, you got to remember, the men knew. The women, except for Olivia Wilde's character, which I forgot, Bunny knew she was in it. So you got to think it felt so real.
And everybody's lying to you.
So if it felt so real, and kind of like what Aranya is alluding to, if your significant other is telling you this is the life, this is what it is,
you're getting pregnant,
and you're trusting him 100%, you're not gonna question nothing. Because you gotta remember, The only reason why she questioned something was because old girl said something.
The black chick. What was her name?
I forgot what they said her
Margaret.
name was.
Margaret.
Margaret said something,
Christina.
and then she saw the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw Margaret die. And everybody's like, no, she's fine. Bullshit. Where she at then? Come put a wheeler right here.
That was another thing. That plane
What the fuck was that?
served no purpose
What the
other
fuck was
than
that?
some MacGuffin to move the story along.
Like, what in the fuck was
because it never came up, it was never alluded to, and if you're in a simulation, they control what you see. So what was the point of this plane?
Well, see, here's the thing though. When you say you're in a simulation and no one can, and you blah blah blah, what you just said. Here's the thing. So to most people where they were at, the plane would have been like we see a plane. If we see a plane right now, it's gonna go and then it's gonna go over horizon. You can't see it. But where she was in that little cart thing,
trolley.
Yeah, she saw it end and it looked like it crashed. Whereas we don't ever see a plane end unless we out in the country somewhere, and it's the kind that
So the simulation of the plane, just she saw the end of
right, and it was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Because generally no one pays attention to stuff like that. Think about it. When you see a plane, don't nobody be like, oh my god, it's a plane. This ain't back in the day.
But a plane on fire.
It wasn't on fire. It was just
it had an engine out.
Look, it was a little smoky, but again, you are not concerned. If we were standing outside right now, you are not generally just concerned like, well, let's go drive and find where that plane landed.
You said little smoky.
Oh God.
And you know what? Like, and it was weird because then there were certain things that hinted to it, like when she was cracking the eggs, and it was like, wait,
the egg is empty.
And then, you know, when the walls caved in on her, it was like, wait. And it was just certain things of the movie that it was like.
Was that a glitch in the game, or was she going spiraling?
And it was, the premise in the movie was seeming interesting, but then you had moments like, okay, so the problem, okay, let me rewind. The problem with the movie overall is, when you get the bigger picture, it's kind of like what Boss said. All of the shit that was in the movie doesn't matter. Like, you know, these motherfuckers was getting promotions at work. These motherfuckers was eating good, going to these little fancy parties.
Meanwhile, you feed me from a bag in my IV, you bitch. But here's my question.
They was going shopping every day. They didn't have to worry about expenses.
Right.
They didn't have to worry about nothing.
And that was another thing. The mall they were at looked futuristic as hell.
Yeah.
True.
It is. But I have a question. So these women, Margaret and Alice, who were questioning the process, and Margaret had to agree to take her medicine, and so did Alice. Why can't the husband, when he leave for work, just put the medicine in her IV bag? Why does she have to suddenly consent to taking the medicine and ain't none of the rest of this shit consent?
That was a whole other thing. Why are you writing prescriptions for virtual medicine?
You got to keep the lie alive.
Like,
you got to keep you got to remember, the men knew.
But again,
the men knew, so you got to keep the lie alive.
Why do we have to have consent suddenly when you could have just changed her medicine when her in her stinky bag? Is he changing her diaper?
He had to be. No. Remember, the rules were you're responsible. Each man is responsible for his own wife. So,
and then it kind of makes you wonder: was every wife like her? Because she was strapped to the bed.
Right.
She was strapped to the bed.
Olivia Wilde probably wasn't.
Yeah, because she knew.
She knew.
But I don't know. It's a lot of up and down with the questioning of how this is done. Are any of the wives actually responsible and the husbands are strapped to a bed?
I doubt it.
I'm just curious because not every relationship is
of the characters we saw. No,
I know, but they said the lot 2 is opening up.
Yeah.
Like, are there other people who? Because every relationship has its ups and downs, and there could be a wife like Florence that could have been like, you know what, my husband is getting on my motherfucking nerves. Say what? This is a new thing. Okay, shoot. Let me get it together. Maybe he can go to work every day, and I can just stay at home and take care of our pretend kids.
That's a good way of thinking about that.
Not everybody wants to be super independent and carrying the weight if you're a woman.
Like, and then to me, right? I think the thing that, because I've never seen Ready Player One. I know. I'm sorry. The thing is that if we're taking watermelon sugar case, I almost said the word I wasn't supposed to say, but this ninja's a bum.
Yeah.
So if you're going in the virtual world, you're living this life that is all glamorous. You're the big shot. You're rising up in the company. You're this, that, and the third. But then for let's say 12 hours of a day, you're plugging out and going to the real world. That's gonna psychologically fuck me up in some way.
No,
I can't True.
I'm not that good of a liar to keep up that kind of charade.
You can't remember stuff like that. You
I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like something would have slipped out. I'd have been dozing off on a nap after a good meal, and I'd have said some shit.
He felt emasculated by his wife.
That is true.
Because she had a good job. He lost his job. She had to take on more shifts.
I don't know what he did.
Probably nothing. Nothing important. She probably was always the breadwinner. And it takes for one person, cult mentality, to get in their head and say, well, this is the way it should be. And he's like, it should be that way. Instead of getting your ass out and getting a real fucking job, this is the way it should be. I can sit up here and look bummy, and then I can just be weird all damn day. And then I can go into my virtual space. Let's be real.
And like Boss just said, where the fuck this technology come from?
Right. Because they didn't get into any of that.
Which was fine. It was fine. For me, it was fine because we wasn't supposed to, I guess, worry about the bigger picture as a whole. But it was like, how the fuck you develop technology like that?
But question, going back to what I was saying, who was actually in charge, Chris Pine or his wife?
Chris Pine.
I'm curious though.
I think Chris. So it kind of ties back to what you said with the female empowerment.
Right.
She probably watched him do all of this, and now here's this one woman.
I think she
here's this second woman that we know of.
Right.
This is second woman who's causing the glitch in the matrix. So fuck it, I'm gonna take it over.
No, here's what I think. Mine is a slightly bit different. I think she knew like Bunny did. I think she was in there voluntarily because this is the life she wanted.
Right.
And he started to fuck it up for her because she was comfortable. Because he was in charge and you let this happen. This is the second time it's happened.
That we know of in the movie.
At least twice. So get rid of you. I can handle this shit from now on.
I want to see what they look like in real life.
Look.
Because
that boy Harry was bum ass.
Right. So I'm like, is he like some ultra? Because he could be a paraplegic. You know how these movies go.
That is true.
Like in real life, he in the bed and she ain't got no dick in forever, and she's just like, give me the life that I fucking want, where I can fuck my husband and stay at home and have a good life.
Right. Like
you don't know.
Like speaking, she had to be in there the longest.
Yeah.
Because hold on too. Now, it was interesting of all the things. Ballet, so she might have been a failed ballet dancer or something.
Right.
True, and
she probably looked like Deborah Logan in that bed. So
wait, whomst?
Deborah Logan is a horror movie. It's a possessed, very wrinkled, gross woman.
Look,
that's a beautiful
frail.
woman.
Thin,
no hair.
Skin is sagging, no hair. She probably looked like Deborah Logan in that bed, Chris Pine. He probably don't even check out when he wake up. They just he in there eternal. He like, I don't need to look at her.
Never. Or change her diaper.
No.
They got servants.
They got this podcast money coming in.
So it really was a recording.
Right.
That shit wasn't live.
Right.
Yeah. You're right.
So
but like it's because like when you get into the whole overall thing, it's like obviously Pine had to have some type of funds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because to develop this technology along with the doctor, to develop this type of technology, to run it, to fund it, to keep it running and funding, you had to have some type of dough.
The doctor probably was trash too.
Speaking of, and I'm just throwing this out there because this is not alluded to or hinted at or anything. I think Pine is just a voice, like the radio, like he did his little radio announcements every morning. I think Gemma's character was the one that was like over all the technology.
Yeah,
because
that would make a little sense.
Like that also would play into the part, like, you know, he invented this world where he was in power and she was a housewife.
Because probably he's paraplegic.
Right.
It makes sense. And maybe from the accident, you know, he got money.
Right.
And they started trying to see if they could find a cure, and they found a cool world. Look at us making backstories for everybody.
Making backstories where they failed to do so.
And the thing was that too, like, to say the movie was a cool 2 hours.
I didn't do anything.
Like, where'd that time go? Like, it was like there was
hunger.
Like there was it was progression in story, but it was so many other questions because it was like, we wanted more answers.
Here's the thing. Also, I want to ask y'all, where was the point where Florence's character, Alice, where she started seeing multiple shit to where you would start questioning reality? We saw this in other movies where they were like this. You know, The Matrix being one, Get Out being another, that did it better, where something major would happen and these characters would be like...
I think it was her touching the thing.
Well, the plane crash caused her to go up to the thing
and touch the thing. Right.
And then that wasn't even explained.
Right.
Like, what was touching the thing doing? Like,
well, clearly touching the thing pulls you out. So he had to put her back in.
Right.
So and that's what's her name said, Bunny.
And like how we pointed out earlier, the music kept triggering her memories. Did this not affect anybody else? Did nobody else have any kind of deep memory from their childhood or their life that would make them remember something?
Because remember, we've all had this conversation as a group. When you hear a song, depending on the song, that song sometimes can evoke a certain emotion. Not everybody is like that. Right. And if you don't hear that song, then it's not done. But that particular song, he was singing to her because he's stupid. So if he's singing it to her and it triggers an emotion in her and it pulls it together for her, what's his name? Nick. Nick. He wasn't singing to Olivia Wilde.
No.
You know, he was like, yeah.
No.
And you got to think. In Olivia Wilde's mind, well, like I said, she knew she got the kids back.
Right. But for another woman, it could be a flower. Or you know what I'm saying?
Right. Like,
and the thing is too, it would be kind of interesting to know what the sister, Margaret, what triggered her. Other than she saying that she went to the desert with her son.
Well, remember that what they said was she went out there with her son. They found her, didn't find the boy.
Because they deleted him.
And they just like made that seem like, all right. Well,
right. Man. Now, I don't care what community you're in. If a child disappears since the 80s, ain't nobody getting over it quick.
Since the 80s, this was supposed to be the 50s.
True.
Don't forget,
they didn't care.
Don't forget, Black Phone was set in what, the 70s roughly?
70s. Yeah.
It was 79, wasn't it? Yeah. So, and children went missing, and it was like, hey, yo, we gotta find this kid.
Right. And
it was no like, hey, we gotta find your son. It was like, yeah, you had a son and you did something to him.
Right. But
what did I do to him?
There's no news. There's no internet. There's no media that's going to go around it. All they have is the wives gossiping with each other.
Yeah.
And the husband's not telling them no real information.
Right.
So if I whisper to my girlfriend, oh, she lost her son, I guess he just out there. Maybe the vultures got him. Then boom, that's going to spread like wildfire. No one's going to know the difference.
No.
So they deleted her because she found out the truth. I want to know how she got out there with him. Did she take the bus too?
I think she walked.
That's
but then I want to know what was her trigger? Because like I said, the song was Florence's. I want to know what was the
and like she said when she called her. Remember, she like, you went out there, you saw it. Where did you go? Because from the scenes they showed us, it didn't look like she went to headquarters.
Well, remember how it's chopped up, fucked up.
Yeah, so she probably did.
Because look, this is what I said to you in the theater. When Florence first got off the fucking trolley, it was like, okay,
that was far.
This is a stretch of land and the hill over here.
That thing crashed on the other side of a mountain.
But here, then it switched over to desert land. Where is this? Because that's not what I saw going that way.
Right.
And then boom, you over here near where the hill is. And I'm like, wait, where, huh? So if you notice, it showed her walking, what's her name, Margaret. Then it showed her with the toy of the child in the desert land.
Mm-hmm.
So we're to assume that she made it to the promised land. Maybe she didn't go up the hill.
Well, she at least made it far enough.
Right. To know that something was
and then that's why I said with the WandaVision thing, because remember, WandaVision created a hex.
Yeah.
So you got to think, we're looking at it from, of course, the armchair quarterback situation, but you got to think, you in this world, you're with your significant other, you're told, hey, just don't go out there. I ain't no reason for me to go out in no desert. I bet. You can buy whatever you want, you can eat whatever you want, you ain't gotta spend no money, you just put it on the card. Swipe the motherfucking card.
Because quote unquote, the men are giving the women what they want to make them happy.
Because just like what E said, it was back in the times where you basically listen to your husband through and through, and you just stay at home, cook, clean, and just have dinner and my drink ready when I get home.
Right.
And you could do whatever you want in the day, just don't go out that way.
Nobody ever got gone.
And nobody will be like, well, I need to go out that way for my beautiful house, my beautiful car. I can buy whatever clothes I want. I ain't never going out that way.
Right. I got friends, kind of. We can go to the pool shop.
But like you said, bum ass Harry Styles kept humming the damn song to her.
Because he's stupid.
And that's what was making her trigger. And yes, we calling him a bum because when you see how he was looking in the movie,
when you see how he looked,
how he looked in the real world, that ninja was a bum.
And here's another thing. I see why she originally wanted Shia LaBeouf for this.
Yeah.
I can see it too.
Yeah.
He would have carried that role.
He would have killed that bummy role.
Yeah.
He would have killed
that shit. He can switch back and forth, and he can play like he drunk. You know, he gets that real hobo.
He gets grizzled.
Yeah. He still look good though.
Look, Shia can be nice as Harry's character was, but then when it was time for him to be angry, he could have did that shit.
Yeah.
But
even the angry Harry Styles was not in any way intimidating.
And he was giving nothing through the whole movie.
Poor thing. He tried. He danced.
He danced like a monkey on the stage.
All right. Aranya. Huh?
Y'all twinning.
Damn that. Aranya, is there any last words you have for Don't Worry, Darling?
Or
any last statements?
You know, I like Olivia Wilde. I really, really do. I like her acting skills. I like her. Sometimes, you know, the imagined board, you gotta make sure things go together and talk to a few people. And I know that, you know, there was some bumps in the road, but I hope she doesn't give up. If this is her passion, I hope she doesn't give up. You know, everybody got to start somewhere. And most of us, when we did something like our first car chronicle was bumpy, you know, but they've gotten a lot better. I hope that she can continue on and do better. And hopefully, if this is her dream, she can execute her dream into something that we'll give a positive review of. Kudos to you, Olivia.
Boss, any final words?
Don't see this movie. I want to say this, though. What you just said, I've come around. Olivia, there's a few directors that didn't do very well on their first try. If this is indeed your first try, keep trying. You may get better, you may not. I'll check out what you have next. Yeah, just keep at it, refine it, do better next time. You got this. But yeah, if you want a movie with this kind of premise and this kind of story, there are much better options for you out there. The Dome, Stepford Wives, The Matrix, just like WandaVision.
Go play the Sims.
There you go. Like, you know, there's many better options for you.
And Paralyzed soon. Y'all keep on the lookout.
But yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say. This movie is by far the worst movie I've seen this year.
For my wrestling fans, if y'all made it this far, I'm gonna quote the wise words of one Maxwell Jacob Freeman, aka MJF. This movie was mid. There you go.
That just happened.
Right.
For y'all to see.
But yeah,
Right.
so
Thank y'all for tuning in, watching. We gave y'all 40 minutes, which this movie did not deserve.
no.
That, but we some thinking motherfuckers, and we had to get our think pieces out.
Look, if you want to go to the movies, there's some movies in the theaters now that
Woman King,
Barbarian.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pearl.
Yeah.
Like there are great movies in the theater right now that you can go see. Don't worry about this one. Don't worry about Don't Worry, Darling.
Wait till it comes to a streaming, and then you look at it and give your perspective.
There you go. So,
if you still stuck around to hear the rest of this banter, facesofhorror.org/Aaron Williams. Vote.
Please vote.
Vote.
One free vote every day
on Facebook.
If you got a Facebook account, it's one free vote. If you don't mind putting in your card, that's another free vote.
Okay.
So you can get up to 2 votes a day.
I take all.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you in advance.
Or you can pay for votes.
Yes.
So if you made it this far.
Right. And if you made it this far, and if you've seen the movie, let us know what you thought.
Leave it in the comments.
If you liked it, tell us why we're wrong. Yeah. If you hated it as well, tell us what parts you hated. So, but yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank y'all for watching. We appreciate it. On behalf of myself, Scoot, Ryan, Boss. Well, holla, darling. Whoa. Hey.